In 1972, a group of amateur criminals pulled off one of the most daring heists in US history. They weren't professional thieves. They weren't masterminds. They were just a bunch of rookies with a plan. But what they did next would shock the nation, outsmart the FBI, and go down in history as one of the most audacious crimes of all time. This is the story of the United California Bank robbery, the $9 million heist that almost went perfectly. Every great heist needs a team, and this one was no exception. But here's the twist: the men behind the United California Bank robbery weren't seasoned criminals. They weren't master thieves or ex-military operatives. They were just a group of ordinary guys with a big dream and an even bigger plan. Let's meet the crew. Amil Dinsio, the mastermind. A small-time thief from Youngstown, Ohio, Amil had a reputation for being meticulous and resourceful. He'd done minor burglaries before, but nothing on this scale. Amil was the brains of the operation, the one who saw the potential in targeting a bank like United California. James Dinsio, Amil's younger brother and right-hand man. James wasn't just muscle, he was an explosives expert and a skilled designer and fabricator of burglary tools. His technical expertise was crucial to the operation. Charles Mulligan, a mechanic with technical skills, Charles was the guy who could handle the tools and machinery needed for the job. He was responsible for operating the high-powered drill and other equipment. Phil Christopher, the alarm expert. Phil was forced upon Dinsio by the person who clued him in on the score, but his knowledge of alarm systems proved invaluable. He was the one who ensured the bank's security systems were disabled without a hitch. Harry Barber, a former boxer with a tough demeanor, Harry was the muscle of the operation. He wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty and was there to handle any unexpected obstacles. Ronald Barber, Harry's brother, Ronald, was also part of the gang. He brought additional muscle and was involved in the execution of the heist. Charles Brokel, a petty thief with no specialized skills, Charles was reluctantly brought along as muscle. Amil didn't trust him but needed extra hands. This decision would later prove to be a critical mistake. Together, this unlikely crew would pull off one of the most daring heists in American history. But first, they needed a plan, and not just any plan. This one had to be perfect. The United California Bank in Laguna Niguel wasn't just any bank. It was a fortress, designed to keep thieves out. But Amil Dinsio and his crew weren't deterred. They spent months studying the bank, learning its routines, and figuring out how to beat its security. Let's break down their plan. Surveillance. The gang staked out the bank for weeks, noting the guard schedules, the alarm systems, and the layout of the vault. They even observed the bank's customers, looking for patterns in when the safe deposit boxes were most active. Insider knowledge. Phil Christopher's expertise in alarm systems was crucial. He studied the bank's security and devised a plan to disable the alarms without triggering any alerts. The tools. James Dinsio designed and fabricated specialized burglary tools, including a high-powered drill and cutting equipment. Charles Mulligan operated the drill, while James ensured everything worked smoothly. The escape route. Ronald Barber and Harry Barber were tasked with securing the getaway vehicles and mapping out multiple escape routes in case things went wrong. This wasn't a smash-and-grab job. This was a surgical strike, planned down to the last detail. And on the night of March 24, 1972, they put that plan into action. It was a quiet night in Laguna Niguel, the kind of night where nothing was supposed to happen. But inside the United California Bank, everything was about to change. Phil Christopher used his expertise to disable the alarm systems in the bank. He cut the phone lines and disabled the bank's alarm system without triggering any alerts. This was a risky move, but it was crucial to avoid detection. James Dinsio and Charles Mulligan worked together to drill into the vault door. It took hours, but they finally got inside. The sound of the drill was muffled by the bank's thick walls, so no one outside heard a thing. Once inside the vault, the gang broke into over 140 safe deposit boxes. Charles Brokel, despite his lack of skills, helped bust open the boxes. With their loot in tow, they loaded it into the stolen construction van and disappeared into the night, leaving no trace behind. By the time the sun rose, the bank was in chaos. But the robbers were long gone, and so was the money. When the FBI arrived at the United California Bank in Laguna Niguel, they were faced with a scene of chaos. The vault had been drilled open, safe deposit boxes were ransacked, and the phone lines had been cut. But despite the scale of the crime, the robbers had left behind very little evidence. The drill hole. The most obvious clue was the hole drilled into the vault door. The FBI analyzed the drill marks and determined that the robbers had used a high-powered drill, likely of industrial quality. Cut phone lines. The robbers had cut the bank's phone lines to disable the alarm system. This showed a level of planning and knowledge about the bank's security. The FBI knew they were dealing with a highly organized crew, but they had no leads, until a break in the case came from an unexpected source. The burglary in Ohio. Months later, the crew executed a similar crime in Ohio. The FBI linked the two burglaries and found that the gang members had traveled to California on the same flight using their real names. The final person arrived on a separate flight the night before the burglary. The FBI also discovered a townhouse the crew used as their HQ, which had been rented by Harry and Ronald Barber. The initial investigation was not as successful as the FBI would have hoped for, but after examining the dishwasher, their fingerprints were all over the place, which facilitated the issuance of their arrest warrants. Mulligan's confession. Mulligan provided the FBI with names, locations, and details about the planning and execution of the robbery. He also revealed that the gang had hidden much of the stolen loot in various locations. Tracking the gang. Using Mulligan's information, the FBI launched a nationwide manhunt. They tracked down the other members of the gang, including Amil Dinsio, James Dinsio, Phil Christopher, Harry Barber, Ronald Barber, and Charles Brokaw. With Mulligan's confession, the FBI finally had the pieces they needed to bring the gang to justice. The arrests were carried out in a series of coordinated raids across multiple states. The FBI moved quickly to ensure none of the robbers could escape or destroy evidence. Amil Dinsio, the mastermind of the operation. Amil was arrested in Ohio. He was found with a portion of the stolen loot and tools used in the heist. James Dinsio, Amil's brother and the explosives expert. James was also arrested in Ohio. He was found with blueprints and tools used to fabricate burglary equipment. Phil Christopher, the alarm expert. Phil was arrested in California. He was found with wires and tools used to disable the bank security system. Harry and Ronald Barber, the muscle of the operation. The Barber brothers were arrested in Ohio. They were found with stolen cash and valuables. Charles Brokaw, the petty thief who had left behind fingerprints in the vault. Charles was arrested in Ohio. He was found with a portion of the stolen loot and tools used in the heist. The arrests were a major victory for the FBI, but the case wasn't over yet. The next challenge was recovering the stolen loot. The robbers had hidden much of the stolen cash and valuables in various locations, and the FBI was determined to recover as much as possible. Using information from Mulligan and the other robbers, the FBI located several hidden stashes of cash and valuables. Some of the loot was buried in remote locations, while other portions were hidden in safe houses. Despite their efforts, the FBI was unable to recover all of the stolen loot. Rumors persist that some of the money and valuables are still hidden to this day. In the end, the FBI recovered a significant portion of the stolen loot, but the mystery of the missing millions remains unsolved. The trial of the United California bank robbers was a media sensation. The gang was charged with multiple counts of burglary, theft, and conspiracy. Amil Dinsio, the mastermind. Amil was sentenced to 10 years in prison but was released early for good behavior. James Dinsio, Amil's brother. James received a similar sentence and was also released early. Phil Christopher, the alarm expert. Phil was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Harry and Ronald Barber, the Barber brothers, each received 10-year sentences. Charles Brokaw, the petty thief. Charles was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The gang's sentences marked the end of one of the most daring heists in U.S. history. But the story of the United California bank robbery lives on as a testament to the audacity and ingenuity of its perpetrators. So, was it the perfect crime? Or did the rookies just get lucky? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you love stories about daring heists and real-life mysteries, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more incredible tales. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.